Jared Rains had never been the type to invite trouble. He was a quiet man, maintenance tech on Outpost Delta 14, a sleepy refueling station on the edge of known space. The most dangerous thing he usually dealt with was a jammed loading arm or a stubborn food dispenser. That day began no differently, until the scratching started. He was walking down the dim cargo bay, inventory scanner in hand, when he heard it. Faint metallic scrape, scrape, tap tap. At first, he thought it was a loose panel or a coolant pipe expansion noise. But when he traced the sound to the airlock service hatch, he realized it was coming from the outside. Curious, and against every safety regulation in the book, he opened the manual inspection viewport. Two shapes floated in the void, clinging desperately to the magnetic lip of the hatch. They were small, barely waist-high, with thin, spindly limbs and oversized eyes that glowed faintly in the dark. Their clothes were torn, their movements sluggish. Jared had seen hundreds of alien species in the station's traffic logs, but these two didn't match any registry profile. "Great," Jared muttered. "Lost tourists. Or stowaways." They didn't speak, just stared at him through the viewport with an expression he didn't need a translator for. Hunger, fear, exhaustion. Protocol said he should notify Command immediately. Command would quarantine them, scan them, question them for hours. If they survived that long. He remembered the stories. What happened to unregistered aliens who didn't have clearance papers? Instead, Jared keyed open the hatch. Inside, the aliens collapsed onto the floor, breathing hard. Their skin shimmered faintly, almost like a translucent film over bioluminescent tissue. One of them, slightly taller, kept glancing around nervously, shielding the smaller one. "I don't know if you understand me," Jared said, crouching down. "But you look like you could use something to eat." He rummaged through the emergency rations locker and pulled out 2 sealed nutrient bars. They were bland, human standard issue, but the strangers tore into them like it was the finest meal in the galaxy. The smaller one made a soft trill of contentment. The taller one hesitated, then gave Jared a slow nod. Jared almost smiled, until his station comm beeped. "Alert. Unscheduled mass jump signature detected. 7,000 incoming contacts. 19 minutes. He blinked. That couldn't be right. The entire Imperial Navy barely fielded that many ships in one battle group. Who in their right mind traveled in a fleet of 7,000? Middle. Within 2 minutes, the station was in chaos. Command channels filled with shouting officers, emergency sirens blared, and civilian traffic tried to scatter in every direction. Jared stayed in his cargo bay, staring at the aliens. They were suddenly alert, whispering to each other in rapid, musical tones. The taller one approached him, placing a delicate 3-fingered hand on his chest. The contact triggered his translator implant. "Shelter giver," it said in a voice like wind chimes. "The hunters come. They come for us." Jared swallowed. "The hunters? You mean those 7,000 ships?" The alien nodded. "They are not hunters for prey. They are hunters for war." Jared's stomach sank. "And they're here because of you too." The alien's head tilted slightly. "Because you gave us bread. You gave us life. In our laws, that makes you kin." Before Jared could make sense of that, a booming transmission cut through all comm channels, overriding station control. "This is the Grand Armada of the Lissari Ascendancy. To the one called Jared Rains, you have granted the right of sustenance to our exiled kin. We come to honor your act." The voice was deep, resonant, and carried the weight of authority. Jared's hand shook. "Wait, you're telling me I fed a couple of your royalty or something?" The smaller alien piped up, finally speaking through the translator. "We are children of the High Matriarch. Taken from our world by enemies. They found you." Jared's eyes darted to the incoming fleet's trajectory. 7,000 warships, cruisers, dreadnoughts, carriers, were decelerating from FTL, forming a protective sphere around the station. Their arrival was so sudden and overwhelming that the dozen patrol frigates normally guarding Delta 14 didn't even raise weapons. A Lissari envoy vessel detached from the armada and docked at the main concourse. Jared found himself escorted, whether willingly or not, to the meeting chamber. Inside waited a figure that towered nearly 3 meters tall, dressed in layered silken armor that shimmered like liquid gold. She was beautiful in a sharp alien way. 4 luminous eyes, hair like living silver threads, and a crown that seemed grown from living crystal. "You are Jared Rains," she said, her voice echoing through the chamber. "The man who fed my daughters." Jared blinked. "Daughters? Course." He looked back at the 2 small aliens, now clinging to her legs safe. "I didn't know who they were," he stammered. "They looked hungry. I had food." The matriarch's expression softened just slightly. "In Lissari tradition, to feed the bloodline is to become of the bloodline. We are in your debt, Jared of Earth." He tried to laugh it off. "Well, debt accepted, I guess. Can we talk about not scaring the hell out of every ship within 10 light-years? The matriarch didn't smile. "We did not come to frighten. We came to protect. The enemies who took my daughters are hunting still. They will follow their trail here. If you remain, you will die." That got Jared's attention. "So you're saying I need to leave the station?" She shook her head. "You will come with us. You will stand under our banners. Until the danger passes. You are Lissari." Jared opened his mouth to argue. Then the first enemy ships arrived. They were nothing like the Lissari fleet. Black, angular, bristling with weaponry. Their hulls marked with a sigil Jared didn't recognize. Dozens of them dropped out of FTL, opening fire almost instantly. The matriarch's voice sharpened. "Shields!" The Lissari armada responded like a living organism. Thousands of energy barriers blooming into existence, catching and dissipating the incoming fire. The station shook, but the Lissari ships didn't waver. Jared stood frozen as the space outside lit up with streaks of plasma and the blossom of detonations. The sheer scale of it was beyond anything he'd seen in all his years working the Outer Rim. Ending. The battle raged for nearly an hour. In the end, the attackers were annihilated, either destroyed outright or fleeing into the void. Not a single Lissari warship was lost. When the last enemy signature vanished from sensors, the matriarch turned back to Jared. "You are safe now," she said. "But safety alone is not enough. You must be honored." "I think I've had enough honor for one lifetime," Jared muttered. The matriarch ignored him. "In our archives, your name will be sung. You will be given the Star Crest, a mark worn only by those who have saved the royal line." Jared tried to protest again, but the 2 alien girls ran forward, each taking one of his hands. "You are family now," the smaller one said. "Where we go, you go." And so, Jared Rains, maintenance tech, part-time cargo handler, and full-time nobody, found himself whisked away from his quiet outpost life to become an honorary prince of an alien empire, complete with ceremonial armor and a personal escort fleet. He'd fed 2 hungry strangers in a cargo bay. 19 minutes later, 7,000 warships had shown up.